You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sara J Loureiro.
Woohoo! We are back with another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. And I always love when people do episodes based on successful habits. I love to listen to them and see if I have anything in common with successful entrepreneurs. And I thought it would be so appropriate for me to give you that perspective from a lot of the female coaches that I see and that I've had the opportunity to coach and to be coached by, and to also be around in terms of the masterminds and things like that that I have joined personally. For you to get a glimpse of what it is that they do differently, but most importantly, the way that they think differently and how that contributes to their success. And in specific, the ways that they do things that are very different than the rest of society. And these are also habits that I've personally adopted in order to really get to creating multiple six figures a year in my own business. And these are habits and thought patterns that I did not have to begin with. And I would say that's probably one of the number one reasons that I was not growing the way that I wanted to, because I had not adopted these 7 habits yet. And these specific habits are things that you can change in your day-to-day as well. Especially so many of these mindset pieces are just so important. And once you do rewire that and reprogram that in your mind, I promise you business gets so much easier. Okay. So let's start off with number 1. So the first habit of successful entrepreneurs, and especially the ones that I have come across, is that they are waking up early. They don't necessarily have a morning routine, although most of them do, but they're not partying at night. They're not doing whatever with their evenings. They're creating a very intentional schedule for themselves on a day-to-day basis. Not to mention that when you wake up early and when you have that intentional hour of the morning, it makes all the difference in your mindset, because it really just helps you to create a nice blank slate where you get to put in the most positive affirmations, when you get to create the most positive vision for yourself. And if you think about it this way, if you are starting out your day with that positive vision, you're only going to be able to create more positives from that, right? Because like attracts like. And so if what we focus on expands, if we're starting off with positive thinking, we're going to expand into positive thinking. And even if we have some negative things that happen to us throughout our day, it's going to be a small sliver of our day versus starting off the day with already having negative thinking, already thinking the same negative things that we thought of the day before. About 90% of our thoughts are the same thoughts that we had the day before. And so if we're actively reprogramming that and putting in more and more positive thoughts every single day, then naturally that is going to grow. And one of the best ways that we can do that is by having a really intentional early morning. So successful entrepreneurs have intention with their mornings. They are waking up early. They're not partying it out all night. And you can interpret partying it out all night in so many different ways. Partying it out all night might be watching Netflix until 2 o'clock in the morning. Partying it out all night could be literally going to a bar, going out for cocktails. The point here is not that all of those things limit your success. It's that getting up early consistently and getting to sleep early consistently are a really, really great measure of success, because of the fact that what successful entrepreneurs usually do with that morning and with that intentional hour or 2 that they spend in the morning rewiring their brains, that is what matters the most. All right. So the second habit of successful entrepreneurs is that they don't take failure personally. And this is such a hard one. And it's definitely something that will grow on you. But over time, you will realize the more successful you become, the less you actually care about your failures, because you know that they aren't going to make or break your business. And the same thing with so many successful entrepreneurs that I surround myself with and all of my mentors. Even when things don't go their way, they understand that that's not a reason for them to completely shy away from social media for a week, or for them to feel like their launch was a bust, or that their programs aren't selling, or to feel like their business is blowing up on them. Of course, that happens from time to time, but overall, especially because of going back to successful habit number 1, really focusing on that intentional mindset work, they can quickly pull themselves out of that, and they can quickly pull themselves out of any guilt or shame that they feel as a business owner as a result of things not going their way. So the third habit of successful entrepreneurs is that they look at everything from a glass half full perspective. And I think this is something that I absolutely love about entrepreneurs. And it's definitely something that I struggled with in the beginning of my business. I remember when I was fully booked for the very first time, I think this was back in 2016 or 2017. I was really, really excited. But at the same time, I was still in this like nothing is working mode. And looking back at that, I realized just how big of a success that was for me to be fully booked when I was just going at it for a few months, kind of going all in on my business for a few months, and I was already fully booked. I was doing really, really well. But at the time, because I had such a negative mindset, I kept on going back to nothing is working, nothing is working. And I was so fortunate at that point in time to have a coach who's really helping me work through that mindset. Because if I didn't have a coach, I probably would have quit somewhere halfway there. And I probably wouldn't have been as consistent as I was, which really helped me to really take things to the next level that same year. It helped me to continue to launch, to continue to put myself out there. And so successful entrepreneurs are usually, generally speaking, optimistic, really positive about their business, about life. And instead of saying nothing is working, this is something that I always tell my clients, they think everything is working. Okay? And it's not that they do this all of the time. It's not that they have some sort of, crazy positivity where like nothing can faze them. They do still experience the hardships. They do still feel those feelings of failure. The difference, though, between successful entrepreneurs and unsuccessful entrepreneurs is that they don't act on those feelings of shame and on all of those negative feelings. They allow themselves to feel those feelings, but then they take action on the idea that everything is working. They take action on their optimism, on their positivity, and that really helps to drive things forward and maintain consistency in business, even if things don't go as planned. And so successful habit number 4, I think is a really interesting one. It's definitely not something that I had, let's say, 6 or 7 years ago. But what I have noticed time and time again is that the successful entrepreneurs that I know, that I've interviewed, that I surround myself with, all have some level of faith or some level of spirituality. So they believe in some sort of higher power, higher energy. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are religious, but they believe in something. They have faith. They are incredible manifestors. And that really helps to allow them to let go of full control in their business. And this is often something that I talk about with my clients, because when you think that you're in control of everything, it causes you to micromanage. It causes you to feel like there's something wrong with you. And it's just not a great quality to have. It's not a great quality to exercise either. It's more of like a habit. Versus if you believe in a higher power, and if you consistently every single day practice that and practice that belief, And that could be in the form of manifesting. It could be in the form of praying. It could be in the form of meditating. It can be in the form of just trusting your path. Whatever it is that you feel like is the higher energy at play, the more that you practice that and the more that you let go a little bit of that control, the easier business will be, because you'll understand that we never have full control. We never have full control of how many clients we're going to sign on per month. We never have full control of how our launch is going to go. There are so many other powers around us that surround us that are greater than just the control that we can provide as human beings. And the more that we can exercise that and the more that we can really lean into that, the easier things get. Because then I love the quote, relax, nothing is under control. It's like one of my favorites because I tend to be a little bit of a control freak. And I know personally that the more that I lessen that, the easier things become. And actually the happier and the funner my business is. And if my business is happier and funner, that means that I'm going to go at it with so much better energy. And what I also think is really interesting about this point is that it's not necessarily about how much you believe in something. Because I've seen time and time again that people who follow specific religions can be really religious. They could read the Bible, they could read their holy book and still feel like they're trying to control each and every aspect of their business, and they're not leaning in on that faith. They're not leaning in on their God to help provide for them. And I've seen this time and time again. So it's not necessarily a marker of how religious are you, or how much this person can necessarily, how many times they go to church or anything like that. It's mostly how they behave and how they act based on their faith and what they choose to believe. And so I think that that's such a beautiful thing, because that really just encompasses spirituality and faith in general. Today's episode is brought to you by the Rapid Expansion Method, which is the proven 90-day program to help you sign on consistent higher paying clients and hit that 6-figure mark in your business with more leadership, alignment, and flow. So if you are either brand spanking new to your service-based business, or you are having trouble breaking the 2 to 3K mark per month, you need this program. We go all in on exact strategies that you need to sell yourself online and to book out your services solid. Find out what social media strategies are the best for you and your niche, while also being surrounded by brilliant female entrepreneurs who are go-getters just like you and are committed to your success. You can find out more about this incredible program at sarajloureiro.com/the Rapid Expansion Method, or go ahead and look over into our show notes for more information. And so the 5th habit of highly successful entrepreneurs, and this is an interesting one, is that they don't watch the news. All right. This is one thing that I stopped doing years ago, and it's made so much of a difference for me. And I've even mentored some of my clients where we do like a daily cap of their day. Like we basically go through every single thing that they do throughout their day. I find this is one of the most helpful things to do with my clients to really help them reprogram their mindset. And I'm surprised at how many of them say, okay, well, I wake up in the morning and then as I'm doing my breakfast, I turn on the TV and I watch the news, or I watch, Good Morning America, or whatever it is that they really, really like to watch. Or they're getting in their car and they're listening to the radio and they're listening to the news on the radio. And this is, sometimes it's really fun. I mean, hello, Good Morning America. I'm sure that that's a really nice show. I don't actually watch it, by the way. But when you're actively listening to news streams that are always projecting negative news, because that's what the news is, we don't hear good news. We are literally priming our brains for the glass half empty approach. Now, news stations know that they do this, and they know that this makes them the most money because we always want to be alert. We want to be aware as human beings of what's to come. We want to be prepared. We want to make sure that we avoid crises. And so the more that the news can scare us, the more they also captivate us. It's like the dramatization of so many things that we have going on. And most successful entrepreneurs know that this is messing with their mindset, which is why they don't do it. And so if you still want to listen to news, if you're listening to this being like, well, then how do I know what's going on in the world? A great way to consume your news is to just keep an app on your phone that's just going to show you like the main highlights of what's going on in the world. And then that way you can just kind of read, let's say, for example, 3 different headlines each day, and you can already get the gist of whatever it is that is going on. I remember in my 9-to-5, the very first thing that I would do when I came into my office is I would just go to my favorite news website. And at the time for me, because I'm Canadian and I was in Toronto, it was usually the Globe and Mail. So I'd put on theglobeandmail.com, I'd see all the headlines. And it was really interesting because me and all my coworkers, we'd start talking about all the headlines. And then sooner or later, you hear yourself talk about all these headlines and then start going down those negative spirals of, oh, this is getting bad. Yeah, this is getting bad. Yeah, this is getting bad. Yeah, I can't believe that this happened. And is that really what you want to be focusing on throughout your day? Is that really what you want to be talking about? Versus getting in your car and tuning into an amazing podcast that's going to make you feel really, really inspired. Or waking up in the morning and while you're doing your breakfast, once again, listening to a podcast, listening to an audiobook. These things help so, so much. And you will find that most successful people, most successful entrepreneurs that you're even a huge fan of, don't listen to traditional media outlets. And they are very, very protective of the information that they are consuming throughout the day. And the 6th habit of successful entrepreneurs, and I'm talking even the people that I look up to the most, is that they consider investments as opportunities. And most importantly, they make decisions about these investments quickly and decisively. So what I mean by this is if they want something and they know that it's a really good investment for their business, they're not going to be wishy-washy sitting on the fence for months about whether or not they're going to do this investment or purchase this thing or hire this coach. They just hire the coach and they do the thing and they trust, once again, going back to faith, they trust that that is going to be the right decision for them. And this is where so many people just keep staying in the same spot in their business because they doubt the decision over and over and over again. They can't make the decision because their money mindset is in such a crappy place. Because once again, going back to the 7 habits of mindset work, and by the time they get to the decision of investing in their business, it's filled with fear. And so the way that you can really help yourself with this is repeat a mantra or just start telling yourself, I make effective decisions quickly and decisively. Okay. And even if you can do your own money mindset work, that's really going to help you to get into the space where you're going to make those decisions. And time again, I also see this with my clients, and so many of my really, really successful clients make their decisions like literally within 24 hours. They say, okay, I really like this. I really, really want to work with you, and I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to find a way to make it work. And they always make it work. Versus the people who deliberate for weeks and weeks and weeks, it's because of the fact that they're also unsure of themselves. And so make sure that you are reprogramming your brain to see investments as opportunities, because investments are what is going to make your business grow. And in specific, investments are going to literally skyrocket your business as long as you are in the right mindset when you are making them. And the last successful habit, or the last habit of successful entrepreneurs, is so good. And I think this is also something that I definitely struggled with in the beginning of my business, is that they don't overwork themselves. Okay? So they know how to be productive, while at the same time, they know how to have rest, how to have downtime, because they know that the rest is part of the productivity. And so I find it really interesting because a lot of my clients, so I feel like about 50% of my clients come to me and they are kind of just starting out their business, but they're not really sure, like how to do things. And I show them how to do things. And the other half of my clients have already had businesses going on, but they're so overworked that they're on this hamster wheel of not being able to hire an assistant, not even knowing when they were going to have time to train an assistant, feeling like they're just completely overworking themselves for their clients. But then because they signed on so many clients at such crappy rates, they don't know how to increase their rates, and they're just so overwhelmed with work that now they have to build their life around their business rather than building their business around their life. Versus successful online entrepreneurs know how to build their business around their life. And that is so important, especially if you want that freedom-based lifestyle, is to understand that you're not going to be building this on your own, and you don't have to, one. And two, you want to make sure that you are integrating and factoring in rest time and being time in your business so you can come up with more creative ideas, so you can re-energize, and so that you can actually be motivating to your clients. Because no one's going to want to work with someone who's completely overworked unless you want a severe discount. And then in that case, are you really building a freedom-based business, or are you just running after low-paying clients and just continuously being on this hamster wheel and not being able to get out? I know that I would much rather be in a state of overflow and abundance than be in a state of overwhelm. And that's what really helped me catapult myself from being a super busy, stressed out, negative entrepreneur, where I was kind of signing a few clients like that, to being in a place of full abundance. And I even help my clients with this energetically because of the fact that it is an energetic thing. So much of this is energetic. It is about your mindset. It's not necessarily about your strategy. And that's it. So I promise you that if you feel like you kind of have a few of these, and some of these you're like, no, I'm totally not there yet, I want to challenge you to try to see if you can fit these into your schedule. If you can reprogram yourself to have a certain amount of these 7, or to be doing a specific amount of these 7 on a weekly basis. Let's say, for example, you want to wake up early 5 days a week or 4 days a week, right? Or you want to stop listening to the news and start listening to podcasts in the morning. Or you want to start really working on your money mindset. All of these things are really going to help you. So much of this, like I said, is based on the mindset aspect of business, because you can have the exact same strategy as someone else, but the way that you implement it makes the biggest difference. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you want to talk to me about it, if you have any comments, please outreach to me on Instagram. You can find me at Sara without an H, J Loureiro. That's on Instagram. Or you can find me on .com, sarajloureiro.com. If you liked this episode, I would be so grateful if you gave it a 5-star review and hit follow or subscribe and told all your business friends about it, because it's going to be helpful for them too. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.